It's Tuesday afternoon, and you know what that means. It's time for Randominity with the Random Kristian Show. Today, Kristian welcomes TV writer, comedian, and actor Marc Sheffler. Brought to you by Neil Getzlow's book, Unmasked, Conquering Sexual Sin and Walking in Victory. Order your copy now at neilgetzlow.com. Use the code RANDOM for a 10% discount. Also sponsored by music, podcast, and video game producer Squid's Killin' It Productions. Find them on Instagram at Squid's Killin' It and on Facebook at Squid's Killin' It Gaming. Proudly brought to you by the SJ Network, bringing professional representation to artists, authors, and creators on all levels. Contact them at s-j-network.com. Also brought to you by Consolidated Skateboards, quality skateboarding decks and products, as well as shoes, shirts, and blankets on the web at consolidatedskateboards.com. Our awesome intro music is provided by the Dead Campers. Their latest album, Savage, is out now. Check them out at deadcampers.com. Plus, random questions of insanity. With us, as always, is our own super director, Matt. My name is Andy, and now here's your host, a man so random, he's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Kristian Random.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tuesday. It is 4 p.m. Central Time, or just a little after, and everything works. Everything worked great, and so far, everything's awesome. Okay, welcome to the show, all you random people enjoying this. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and do all the necessary random things that need to be done. As you can see, everything is not mirror viewed anymore. I've been corrected, and we fixed everything. So if you were here last week, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Or if you're just listening, it doesn't matter. So it's fine. I want to thank everybody again. I want to thank Neil Getzlow again for sponsoring the show. He's going to be on again in a couple of next month. Next month we will have Neil and his wife on, because pretty soon this wall's going away. We're expanding the studio. We're going to be able to let people come in, congregate, hang out, have a little party, do a little dancing, get crazy, you know what I'm saying, girl? So make sure you're ready for that. In the meantime, we do have Mr. Marc Sheffler. Humor. Oh my gosh, this guy is so great. Just talking on the phone with him, I was having a blast. In the film, The Last House on the Left, back in the 1970s, like one of the original horror cult films. And yeah, I know. Enable the chat. I get it. Apparently Cheryl has jumped in here already and said it does matter. I guess it does. So right on, Cheryl. Thank you. And thank you for watching, by the way. Then also we are going to talk to him. He's done so much writing, and he's done comedy. He helped start the Comedy Store back in the early days, Mitzi Gaynor's Comedy Store. I've got like 1,000,000,001 questions for him. But the one thing we really need to know is, where's Andy? There's Andy. And Andy's turned. Andy, you need to shave.
I know, New Year's was really hard for me. It really was.
Happy
New Year, everybody.
COVID's had a bit of an effect on you, hasn't it? Oh man,
I have my son will get these little like trinkets and stuff from being good at school, and they're left in my office. So like I have a bunch of these weird little guys.
Yeah,
just
Happy Meal
all over the place. We got some Legos. Got Stargirl right here.
Oh yeah.
So all at arm's length right here. I also have a John Cena.
Oh.
So
you can't see me. All right. Yeah. I'm hip. So I know what that means.
I even have a little blue guy.
Oh well.
So I got a ton of all at arm's length right here. So
yeah, and maybe that's best where they're at, because kind of freaking me out Get a little flashbacks from back in the days, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Do you? Do you really hear me, or
Maybe.
are you just
Well, the
ignoring me
pet
and just
rock
making?
understands. The pet rock
Oh,
absolutely understands.
did you ever have a pet rock back in the day?
I
Like
did
the
not have a
original
pet
pet
rock
rock?
back in the day. No.
Oh my god. Classic.
No.
That was like
Yeah.
the stupidest thing ever, and it was, I just couldn't believe how many people ended up with pet rocks.
What a
Uh,
brilliant I mean, like, that was one of those ideas where it's just like, "Man, why didn't I think of that?" Like, come
Genius
on.
marketing. Genius
Seriously.
marketing. Speaking of which, we have a little announcement, don't we?
Do we?
I believe we do,
Okay.
and
What's this announcement? What's this grand announcement?
well, in on March 1st, actually, not April 1st, because this is not an April Fool's joke. March 1st, anybody who is involved in comics or any of the Marvel, DC, uh, Mr. Tom Rash will be on the show. Okay.
Ooh.
So, very cool just in itself. But on top of that, Tom has offered to uh, let us have a signed drawing from him that we are going
Ooh.
to raffle off with not only just that, you
Uh-huh.
get to get whoever wins the raffle, which we will pick the number by random. Uh, you will get to be a guest host during the show with Tom Rash. You can ask him
Oh,
questions,
that's
be a part of the
cool.
process, and which basically means Andy really doesn't get to talk much. You get to do all
Oh.
the talking, and I just get to sit here and look so pretty. But yeah, it's all up and ready for you guys. We actually it's on. If you go to then Randy.
Okay, go to the randomchristianshow.com/raffle and donate. Use the PayPal button to donate. If you donate $3, you're automatically entered into this raffle. Again, once you donate, we have your name, we have your information. We will pick a name at random to be our co-host and to win the autographed animation from Mr. Tom Rash himself.
And this is what it's going to look like when you go to that randomchristianshow.com/. I'm pulling it up here. And there it is right there.
That's a webpage, all right.
Yeah, but you can't really see it over us. Let me see if I can scroll it up a little bit here.
There you
There.
go.
There's Tom right there's a picture of Tom.
And then there's the PayPal button right underneath. Just click that PayPal button. Again, give us $3 and you're entered to win.
$3, yes. And you can enter as many times as you want. I would pass the word around and let people know if you got friends who are into comics.
So if I gave $9, would that be considered 3 entries?
That would be 3. No, it has to be 3 separate entries.
Okay, so I would have to do 3 separate donations of $3.
Yeah, and like I said, unfortunately, we just finalized everything literally last night, so it's we're ironing everything out. But yeah, I guess, would that mess things up? Well, we'll find out.
I don't think it would mess things up because we're gonna see the amounts that people donate anyway, and we just need to tick their name 3 times versus. I mean, because we're essentially
no, but they have to have 3 different number spots, right?
Well, right. So let's say that I'm the first one to donate $9. I should get spots 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right, then yeah, as long as it's divisible by 3 and I can have enough fingers and toes to do that. Shut up, Andy. God.
I said nothing. I didn't say anything.
I know. But right there, you can see on the site. In fact, I'm going to circle it here where it says donate right there to our PayPal. And $3 is all you need for just 1 entry. But, pass the word around. Anybody you know that's into DC or Marvel, he's done Iron Man, he's done Batman, he's done Spider-Man, he's done Wolverine. He's actually got his own comic, Black Alpha, that's coming out. Oh, gosh, there was another one, too. But they're going to be making a movie about it. It's gonna be huge. So you definitely
get the chance to interview
the
guy. So I mean, come on, just for that's going to be a very exciting,
right? And that's what I'm talking about. So
yeah.
In the meantime, though, I think that was really great. Right. We got I got producer Matt in my ear, giving me a hard time. Okay, so I don't really need that anymore. I do have to mention you every time, Matt, because nobody else can hear you, and I like to announce the fact that nobody else can hear you. I know it's confusing. It's actually right here. It's Matt. Hi. Haha. You're the coolest Chris ever. Gosh, I wish I was you.
Hi, everybody. We're sorry. Kristian has lost it. This is now the Random Andy Show. Today on the show, we have comedian and writer Marc Sheffler. And
shut up. All right. So, Andy.
Yes.
Now, we pulled a little something together here the other day. And we were talking about, since it is the new year, this is season 3, by the way, our first show of the new year, season 3.
Raise the roof.
What up? So, I was talking with you about expectations for the new year.
Right.
2021 was really, kind of sucked.
Compared to 2020, it wasn't as bad as 2020, but it wasn't as good as what we hoped 2021 would be.
Well, yeah, because 2020 was like the kickoff. 2021 was like this carryover. We're kind of figuring out we could still kind of suck.
Well, yeah, no, you have it's like you go to a party or you go to like a I don't know, you go to anything, like you go to a job interview, right? And you realize that you have the worst experience ever. You have the worst job interview ever, right? That was 2020, and you're just like, okay, the next job interview, I'm gonna kill it. I'm going. It's gonna be great, and then you realize you blow that interview too, but it wasn't as bad as the 2020 interview. So you're like, okay, it was better than 2020, but it wasn't the best,
Yeah.
So that's where sort of 2021 hit.
Yeah. And so now we've moved into 2022. We have high expectations for 2022.
Right. Yeah.
And so we have been tossed some things around a little bit. And so I asked you to make up a couple write down a few things of your expectations from us here at the Random Christian Show for our 2022. And now you want to rock, paper, scissors?
I do. First? And first I want to apologize. I realized that when I was doing this, that I'm a much better reactionary sort of writer versus a thought out writer. Okay.
You're more improv comic than stand up.
Right. You're going to notice this with my thing, but this was the one that I thought of because in 2021, we saw all these billionaires sort of go to space, right? Because and that was the big thing. Like it got deregulated to a point where they could say, hey, we can do our own space flights and everything's fine. I have a feeling, and this is my prediction for 2022, that these billionaires are probably going to get bored of influencing politics by the lobby.
Right.
And they're going to start their own political parties. So I think we're going to have, and I think Bezos is going to do this. So he's just going to extend Amazon Prime to a political party. And so you're going to have Prime members, you're going to have non-Prime members. Prime members get to online vote.
Minister.
Right. Prime members get to online vote. They get like the quick access to everything. Non-Prime members, they got to stand in the long lines and they got to, it's just
they get put on hold.
Right. Yeah. So I just have a feeling that it's going to be that they're just going to dip into the political arena and say, you know what? Republicans, Democrats, screw this. We're going the Prime membership to American politics. Right. Yeah. So
well, and the other beauty thing of that is, the non-Prime members will get the bot response.
Exactly.
Where the Prime members will actually get a live person from somewhere in, Southeast Asia. So
exactly.
And we still will be like, what? And there'll be a delay, and
we'll get election results the next day. Prime members will get election results the next day. Non-Prime members will know in 2 weeks.
and yet it will still be just like the regular U.S. government.
You're
So
right. Exactly. Yeah. We won't be any better.
nothing's going to change. It's
Right.
just going to be a different title.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
What are your predictions,
well,
Christian?
now to feed off of that,
Okay.
as Bezos took his flying penis into space.
Exactly.
Well, so I think in 2022 there is going to be a space station put up in, space. It's going to be kind of an oval,
Uh-huh.
and the flying penis will come dock right in
Oh.
the middle of it.
Oh, okay.
So it's
All
going to
right.
look a lot like, use your imagination. I'm just saying.
I don't
Um,
have to with you doing that.
no, penis going into a vagina. That's all I'm saying. And
Uh-huh.
that will be the beginning of space exploration. That's my one kind of expectation and prediction because Bezos is trying to make up for something apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Space exploration.
I hear that. I absolutely hear that. So, you
So
know what? I wouldn't put it past to see the a awkwardly shaped.
space station and
Yeah,
the whole docking procedure. Whoa, no, we don't want
right.
to talk about docking and sexual. No, trust me, you don't ever want to Google docking and yeah, trust me, it's
Yeah.
horrible. Okay, so your next expectation or prediction?
You know what? I had a hard time. I had a hard time figuring this out, but mine also has to deal with more space exploration. I have a feeling that plans for the moon base will be announced.
Oh,
And again, instead of it being in the ruse of exploration, it's going to be uh, a luxury hotel experience that you will have to pay out the nose to, and they're gonna obviously nothing will happen. Like it'll be announced this year. That's what I'm saying. That
ah,
that the luxury moon hotel experience will be announced this year, and
the
like the
Lunar
fees.
Trump Plaza.
Exactly, right? And it'll be some weird, just completely astronomical like fee to stay up there for a week to come up, come down. And like I have a feeling that news will get to a point where like this is like, and this is just going to be the big thing. Like people are going to want to, I'm going to go, I'm going to live, like I'm going to go live on the moon. I'm going to go work on the moon. And that's going to be the like, I think that's where it's going to go.
So yeah, you're just kind of going into an Arnold Schwarzenegger film, and
Right. Exactly. Right. Got to get to Mars. I got to get to Mars.
but instead of Mars, it's the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all right. Well,
Yeah. What are your predictions
but it's
for
going to be the
2022?
most beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have well, I got a little one here.
Yeah. Give me one.
You know, where I want to make sure I read the right one because there was a couple that were poo-pooed.
A little
I'm
bit.
just saying.
Yeah. One was a little fuzzy. So.
Okay, so in 2021, people really got caught up with classifying themselves as, he, him, or she, her, it,
Pronouns,
they.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
douche, jerk, moron, politician, et cetera, and so forth. So we here at the Random Christian Show, we're going to expect us all to just grow up a little bit. Okay, we're just in 2022. We're going to simply just make it a simple clarification term, innie or outie.
And I'm a proud innie.
I'm an outie.
Really?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, now that we can still do the podcast together. I'm gonna be okay with this. Yeah. I don't mind.
Weird.
I absolutely don't mind. I don't mind working with an outie at all. I really don't. So.
Okay, I'm not an outie. I'm just an outie. Okay.
Yeah.
One more quick one.
Okay. Yeah. Give me another one.
Oh, okay. Let's see. No, that was poo-pooed. Okay. In recent years, the internet has proven to be a source of information that has not been, and albeit reliable. So in 2022, all electronic devices will have an electroshock fact-checking device that will deliver a mind-altering shock if you not fully fact check a piece of information before posting it online.
Yeah. I absolutely wholeheartedly get on board with this. I think that would be great. Is, just like the little warning before you hit the share button. Did you read the full article? Like, no.
Did you read all the way through? Oh, no, it's
no.
it's going to be electrodes connected to the head.
Right.
That
Well,
way,
they're already in there. They're already in there.
Mind-ruling idiots. And they're like, oh yeah, he never fact check anything. So
right. Yeah. But no, no. This is a man. I hope this comes true.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It needs it.
So those are just a few of our expectations and predictions. Space exploration and lunar landings.
We'll come back to this on the last show of the year and see if how close we got. How close we came.
I'm loving
it. When the Prime Party announces their candidate, we'll come back in.
I think no, I'm gonna let it go at this point. So, but you know what I'm not gonna let go of?
What?
Yeah, you don't know, do you? No, what I was going to say is I'm not going to let go of the fact that we have a gentleman waiting on us that I've been very excited ever since we got him booked to get on the show. He is done now. He was very well known at first for his movie appearance in the cult classic horror film The Last House on the Left, and he played Junior, which was one of the main characters. And that movie just blew up back in the 70s, thanks to Roger Ebert. I think it was Roger Ebert that did it was just kind of supposed to be some kind of drive-in, make out with your girlfriend kind of movie thing. And they did a huge review on it, and it like blew up. And just overnight. And which, the media does have a little power. And then like he quit that and he went into writing and comedy, and just got
he had us rolling in the pre-show. I mean,
it was great. And he's doing a one-man show now, which I'm very intrigued about as well. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our little humble show, Mr. Marc Sheffler. Mr. Marc Sheffler, sir, how are you?
I take my hat off so people know I'm not I have my hair.
Hey, you're doing way better than me, boss. I'll tell you that much.
I have more hair than any man or woman in my family over the years.
Wow. Well, right on. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
No, very, very excited. Okay, so like I said, we kind of quickly grazed on the movie The Last House on the Left. Just real quick, how did you end up with that? I mean, because you were just starting out, kind of, right?
Well, sort of just starting out. I dropped out of college in 1969, and I went to LSU in Baton Rouge. As a matter of fact, I went to school with David Duke. Yeah. Man is consistent. He was arrogant, racist asshole then, and nothing's changed. Give him props for consistency, right? So right. I dropped out of college, and I wanted to go to California. And my dad, who was like my hero and like always gave me great advice, said, "You'll end up in California. Go to New York first." So I got a job. I went to New York and got a job in the Catskill Mountains as the stage manager of one of the major hotels, the Raleigh Hotel. And I stayed there for about a year and saw every comedian. It was like a master's degree tutorial. It was like I saw every major comedian on in the East Coast multiple times. Got to know lots of them. And then I met a guy, one of the comedians, a guy named London Lee, who was a kind of a well-known East Coast comedian. His act was that his father was very rich, and he was like the poor little rich kid, right? His father was very rich, and London was pretty much who he portrayed himself to be. So about a year into my gig at the Raleigh, London said to me that his road manager was leaving, and the job is mine if I want it. So I took it. moved down to New York from the Catskills, actually to Inglewood, New Jersey, and worked with London for a year. And during that year, I started out as his road manager, driver, schlepper, and then I wrote a couple of jokes for him that really worked. And then I became part of his act and stayed with him during, through like at least 150 club dates in the Catskill Mountains, and ended up with 2 weeks at the Copacabana. So I was part of the act, and I'm getting to the Last House thing. So I stayed with London for about a year, and then I left, went on my own by myself, and was hanging out in the clubs in New York, doing a little stand-up wherever I could, and somehow got a manager. I'm a little foggy on how I got the manager, but I ended up having the same manager as Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck.
Wow. What's up, Pussycat?
Lloyd Greenfield in New York, right? So, and the guy in the office, Dick Towers, was my manager, was working on my stand-up stuff, and I walked into his office one day, and he said, "Hey, listen, I got a movie audition for you. I think you're really right for this movie. It's a low-budget piece of shit, but you're really right."
So it totally matches you, because
how do you really feel about me?
Probably not going to pay anything that much, but you're great for this. So he said he writes scribbles down on a piece of paper, and he says go down to this office off of between 5th and 6th, and ask for two guys. One's name's Wes, and the other guy's name is Sean something. So just ask for them. So I go down and I meet Wes and Sean, and I do an audition. And by the time I get back to Dick's office in Rockefeller Center, they had called and said, "That's our junior," So that's how I got it. That's the answer to your question.
Wow. That's so great.
And of course, Wes is Wes Craven.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, Wes was Wes Craven, and Sean was Sean Cunningham.
Yeah.
Wow. Man.
So.
Yeah, and then you just kind of you kind of stepped away from the acting, because now you alluded to this in the beginning here. You were working in a lot of I guess not casinos. What'd you call them? Resorts and stuff like that.
London did most of his shows were like up in the Catskills, and then back at that time there was this whole triangle between New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And there were always, nightclub entertainment and club dates and, like shit. Like I did a New Year's Eve gig with him. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about it. We used to do a thing in his act, right, where in the middle of his act, he would say, "I'm a little thirsty. I'm a little thirsty. Can I get some water?" And he would turn to the wings and he would say, "Mark, bring me a glass of water." So I'd walk out with a glass of water, and on the cross, he would look at the audience and say, "This is Mark. My father got him for me." So that was you got that.
That's a nice intro.
Fucking wrong. So we did that, and then one night at the Neville, during one of these club dates, we'd done this a couple of 3 months. We do the bit, and I go to walk out. And he leans over and he says, "Hey, wait a second." I said, "What?" And he said, "I think I'm coming down with something. I don't know if I got tired all of a sudden. You want to do 5 minutes or so?" And I said, "You kidding?" I was shitting in my pants. It was like someone. It's a nightclub, like 1,200 people in the nightclub. This is serious. 1,200 fucking Jews who demand to be entertained.
Right.
This boy's not funny.
They're not like a regular audience. You get like 1,200 Jews on a Saturday night. They don't even applaud. They had these things, these little wooden balls on sticks, knockers, and if you did a joke they liked, they would knock the table with these things, right? So
yeah.
When I started my job at the Raleigh as a stage man, I saw this. I couldn't fucking believe it. I said, "What? They laugh? They laugh? What the fuck is wrong with them? They knock. They sit there and go like." That's very good. That's very good. That's very good. I mean, give me a fucking break.
God.
Yeah,
some weird ass cult.
It is. So one night at the Neville,
their balls everywhere.
So London says you want it, and like it was like someone shoved an icicle up my ass at that moment because because I was like frozen it for a split second in fear, like just, and then I said, "Fuck it, man, you bet." And I grabbed the microphone, and London said, "This is Mark. He works for me. He's a young comedian and writes some of my jokes." He was very generous, and so I went downstage center. And I did like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and it was working. It was like really working. And I hear from behind me, London say, "All right, that's enough. Get the fuck off the stage."
You killed him. You killed him. You're making me look bad.
So we get back in the car, right, to go drive. I'm carrying the bags and driving and still high on this thing that I did just like out of nowhere. And it was much like the feeling I had when I lost my virginity. London said to me, "We're not going to do this every night." And I said, "Hey, I just want to do it. I just want to do it once."
Right.
I did it once. That's good enough.
Yeah. From now on, it's you and your hand.
Yeah, that's it.
You become a ventriloquist.
I'll tell jokes to myself now, but I did it. So but I'll tell you a story about me that where it kind of all started. I don't live in a Boeing factory. That's one of our Roombas behind me. So my wife has them programmed. So every time I'm about to I'm on a podcast, she like, "Go get them, get those bastards." Right?
Yes. Right.
Just circle the desk.
Go vacuum his ass right now. So
just got a Roomba, so I know what you're going through.
Yeah. Wow, man. Those guys in the
well,
Boeing factory.
I think you guys need a Roomba support group.
What'd you say, honey? So when I had a kind of out of the box father, right? He was an aluminum siding salesman, and like just wore custom made suits and drove big fancy cars. And it was like, imagine like the aluminum siding salesman you might have in your head on acid, right? That was my father. So I was getting towards my 10th birthday, and my dad said to me, "Well, you're going to be 10, double digits, man. What do you want for your birthday? It's a special birthday. It's a whole decade." So, child of my day, I said, the Three Stooges. And he got them for me. All right.
Oh, nice.
That picture back there, here, wherever it is here.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, that one.
That picture. That's me and the Stooges at my birthday party.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
So what happened was we had about 60 people in the Holiday House, a big nightclub, but it was a private party on an afternoon, Saturday afternoon. And 60 people, friends, parents, because they couldn't believe it. And there we were. And in the middle of their act, Mo stops the show and says, "Well, we're here to celebrate Mark's birthday. Where's Mark?" So I stand up, and he said, "Hey, Mark, why don't you come up on stage with us?" And I went up on stage, and I hit the stage, and my face got hit with the lights, and I blinked a second, and I heard people talking, but I couldn't see anybody. I walked over to them. I knew all their stuff, right? I knew their material, so I started interacting with them. Mo must have been getting a kick out of it because he puts his hand on my head and says, "I dub you the fourth Stooge." And
oh my God!
They're laughing, and I felt this warm embrace, and I said, "Whoa, this is great. I want more of this."
Yeah.
Dude, that
right
feels
there.
good. Yeah,
that's
I
incredible.
That's it. All tracks back to that moment, right? It starts right there.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
And so I just have wanted to do this my entire life. It's to the exclusion of a lot of things. It's all I really give a shit about, except my family, my wife, and my kids. But this is. And luckily they're entertaining, because if they were just normal people, they'd
right.
Yeah.
Like, well, listen, I'm gonna be out for a while, like 10 years.
Yeah.
I'll be back. There's some milk at the store I got to get, and it's far away.
My wife, we've been together 17 years, but when we first started being together, she had never been with anyone who had so many other people living inside of his head, right? who would come out, right?
Right.
Like like sometimes, I'm working on a joke or working on dialogue. I'll talk it out, right? And wherever my wife, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? No. Who are you talking to? Well, Bob, okay, inside my head.
Right.
It's this guy right here. I always say my invisible friend Blinky, because I am I do a lot of voices, and I have a comedic background a little bit. So yeah, I do kind of the same thing, and I take things to the extreme. And my wife will just be like, "All right, I'm going to be over here. You're going to do your thing, and I'll be back."
Yeah, I know. One of the things I loved about when I got to the Comedy Store, and even more so than the clubs in New York that I worked, when I got to the Comedy Store in 1976, I had an overwhelming sense that I had finally landed in a place where I didn't have to explain myself to anyone.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
And a lot of us got there kind of like within a few weeks of each other. Like Argus Hamilton got there like 2 weeks before me, and Robin got there like a week before, like literally got to LA like a week before me. Jay Leno had been there a couple of weeks. David Letterman was still driving his his pickup truck with Indiana.
Yeah, because he had basically just said, "Screw it, I'm going out there," right, and just packed up what he could, and he was straight off the.
Here's how I met Letterman first time. I'm one of those people. Up front, I'll tell you that I've been very lucky, right? I've had a lot of shit just happen to me that just dumb fucking luck. Just I guess it's luck. I don't know. It's but things, right? Because there are a lot of very talented people who just when the metaphor would be if they're people trying to cross a raging creek, right? And you need these stepping stones to get across. You may have all the will and the ability to get across that creek, but if those stepping stones don't appear, you're fucked, right?
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I've been one of those lucky people where the stones have appeared whenever I needed them, right? So like I sold the first script I ever wrote. Who does this, right? It moved me to California. The day I landed in LA in 1976, in February of 76, I had money in the bank. I had a car, an apartment, and an office. I had just sold my first script, and I had William Morris as an agent. Right, so that's the day I relocated. I landed in LAX. That had all of those. I didn't think of it in that context, back then, but now I see what it was. I had all of that in my pocket, like the day I moved here.
Yeah.
So, I got very lucky. It was William Morris that got Mitzi to give me time on a Monday night. She wouldn't give me a regular spot. Mitzi Shore, not Mitzi Gaynor.
Right.
Mitzi Gaynor, dancer.
Oh, that's right. Damn it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all right. As a member of the original class, I have an obligation to correct that.
Right person. So yeah.
So she wouldn't give me a regular time because she didn't know who I was, and that was fine, So I went one Monday night and I did okay, did fine. I had to rewrite everything because I didn't have the right material. Because I hung out there and kind of sussed out the audience and like I saw Tim Thomerson and Steve Bluestein one night on the same show, and I almost quit show business. I just said, I saw. You guys know who Tim Thomerson is, right?
Mm-hmm. I know of him. Yes.
He's an extraordinarily talented guy and a brilliant comedian. Yeah. And so I did. Then I rewrote a little bit and nipped and tucked, and used my experience at that age. And second time I was pretty good, and then the third time I got lucky with a time spot again given to me on a Monday night, but it was like 10:15. It was like a prime spot. And here's what I mean about stepping stones being there when I needed it. The comedians before me did really well, which is what you want. You don't want people bombing. That's not good. So they did really well. So the audience was like up here. I go on stage and I squeeze every fucking laugh out of that new 5 minutes that I had that was there. I just milked everything. There was nothing left. It was dry, and it was like comedy jerky when I was finished with it. It was nothing else. Like joke. You could take it on the road and go hiking with it, man, but there was no more in it whatsoever. I squeezed everything out of it. So I walk off the stage, and there's Mitzi sitting in her booth. She was there to showcase somebody else that night. So I walked over to her, and I just said, "Hey, Mitzi, does it have to get any better than that?" And the audience, meanwhile, it's right in the middle of the audience is applauding for me. So she said, "All right, Mark, call in for spots." And and that's the story of how I became a regular, and that's why my name's been on the wall there for like 40 some years. And
I was going to say, you're like one of the original first ones on the wall, really.
Yeah, I'm part of the class that we're known as original paid regulars because we were there before the strike, and then we're there after the. So that puts us in that original category, Letterman. Hey, let me tell you, man. Two things I realized my first night on stage at the Comedy Store. Number one, that if I do this just moderately well, I'm going to have a real career because of where I was. And number two, I never have to go to a singles bar the rest of my life.
Oh, that's incredible.
And there's a couple things there that you alluded to that I want to
sure.
into. But hang on a second. We're going to do a little quick commercial, and then we're going to be right back with you. So if you can hang out just for a second with us, and
I'm home, man. I'm not going anywhere. So
right. Hang on one second.
Like I have to go. I have an appointment in the living room.
The Random Christian Show is sponsored by Neil Getzlow's new book, Unmasked. Hey, it's Kristian, and we're all struggling with something in our lives. I mean, men and women both. Maybe it's an addiction or loneliness or bitterness, something that just keeps us on edge. Well, for Neil Getzlow, he had an addiction to porn that started when he was just 9 years old. And then it built up and it turned into a sex addiction as an adult. But thanks to the power of prayer and forgiveness from both God and his wife, Neil was able to walk away from those struggles and completely turn his life around. Now, it may be you or somebody you know, but if Neil can do it, I promise you, you can do it too. There is hope and there is a way out. God's going to give you the path, but are you going to take it? I want you to check out Neil's new book, Unmasked, and learn all about this. If you use the code RANDOM for free shipping, you're going to save a bunch of money and you're going to really help yourself or somebody out. All right. Go to therandomchristianshow.com. There's a link there, or go to neilgetzlow.com, NeilGetzlow.com, and check it out. Don't forget to put in the code RANDOM for free shipping. And we're back. All right. Thank you very much, Neil, and our sponsor. We appreciate you very much. Sorry about that, Mark. Didn't mean to. Hope you didn't doze off or anything. Now, okay. So a couple of things. First off, just going back to your father real quick, because there's a very interesting story there. I know you were a Jerry Lewis fan.
Yes.
And now there was a story about your father. I don't know all the details about it. I was just given some quick notes.
Let me help you out.
Because it's hilarious from what I heard.
Well, yeah. See, I'm pretty much retired, except for I have one show I'm trying to get going, and my partner in the show is my producing partner is a guy named Gary Hart, who was the president of Paramount Network Television for about 13 years, and we go back to my Charles in Charge days, and we're good personal friends, and like working with each other. So I was telling him a couple of stories about my dad and me and my life back then when I was a kid, and he said, "You got to write this as a pilot." So I sat down and started working on it, and what I came up with was a show that we now call Those 7 Years. And it's and here's the framework, and it ties right into what you're talking about. my dad and I were in a movie theater in downtown Pittsburgh called the Stanley back then. It was managed by my father's cousin, who was the general manager for all of Stanley Warner Theaters in the Pittsburgh, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania triangle, greater Pitt area. And we used to go to all their movies, and all the Stanley Warner Theaters. We had these family passes, and we would go. So the Nutty Professor opens up in 1963, I believe, and my dad and I are at the opening of it, like the first day, and the movie's finished and audience is applauding, and I said something to my dad about, Jerry Lewis is the funniest guy in the planet, and geez, he's just amazing. And then my dad said to me something about that I mused about what must it be like to be in the movies, right? To have that be your job. So my dad said to me, maybe you'll find out one day. And I said, what, are you kidding? Like I was nuts. So my father looks at me and says, hey, somebody does it every day. Why not you?
Yeah.
And I didn't have an answer. I didn't really. So I said, yeah, why not me? So he and I made this kind of like silly deal that one of these days, I promised that one of these days I'd be starring in a movie that's up on that screen, meaning the Stanley. And he said, and when that happens, you and I'll ride to the premiere in a limousine. So we make that deal. We shake hands on it. So the body of my series is from that happening in the pilot, in the first episode, to when Last House on the Left opened in Pittsburgh. It opened at the Stanley 7 years later.
Oh, wow.
And my dad and I did ride there together in a limo.
Nice.
So the show is the bookended by those two events, and the body of the show are all the adventures that I went on and had to get from the promise to the realization of the promise. So one of the in the pilot, the story that you're talking about, in the pilot, that's the first the first big scene, is that I used to travel with my dad on the road a lot. Yeah. And he was a closer, so he was like the boss, the man from the factory, the big shot, right? And he had these guys who worked for him who went out and knocked on doors and got leads. So they were in a house one night at like 100 miles outside of Pittsburgh, some West Virginia, Ohio, I don't even remember where. And it was like a tough sale. So my dad comes out and he says, they're driving me crazy. And, I don't know if they're going to buy this. And, but we're trying. The wife wants it. The husband doesn't. And the husband wants it. The wife doesn't. He said, I'm about ready to get the fuck out of here. I don't care anymore. So I looked at my dad and I said, Jerry Lewis? And he said, maybe, because we had this thing, right? So about 10 minutes later, their front door opens up, and he brings the Mr. and Mrs. customer out, and they wave to me, and he calls out my name. And instead of waving, I get up and went, Dr. Zelman, Damon, and Falvin, David, Alvin, David, Ivan, Falvin.
Hi, lady.
Lady, I don't know. So anyway, but what he told them was, look, my son has a condition.
Oh, no.
And we forgot his medicine in Pittsburgh. So if you don't sign, I have to leave now.
Oh, my goodness.
Here, I'll introduce you to my son. Cut to him
like,
saying,
no.
Mark, and
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's great.
So that's the first 3 minutes of the show. And
that's incredible.
it takes off from there. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, that's the Jerry story. And the funny thing is that later on in life, Jerry Lewis and Sam Denoff, my former partner, were very close friends. I used to talk to Jerry on the phone all the time. Never once told him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No.
I kind of kept that in my pocket.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I could see where he'd be like,
So So is the pilot's written?
It's written, and the whole story, the whole series is mapped out.
Okay.
The thing I like about it is that as the story progresses, as the protagonist's story progresses, it's somebody filling in for me, right? Every season takes place in a different location with a lot of the same characters. Like, first season opens up, and I'm in a public high school in the neighborhood in Pittsburgh where I grew up. But at the end of that season, I get thrown out of that high. I set this getting thrown out, and then the next season starts off in a private day high school that my father found that was very expensive for kids like me that were out of the box, that had parents with disposable incomes. So and one of my classmates who I'm still friends with there is a guy named Nathan Schulhoff, and Nathan Schulhoff is the inventor of the MP3 player.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Now, if you had to cast somebody to play a young you, who would you cast? Would you like cast an unknown, like up and coming comedian, or?
No. Don't forget, it started out when he's a kid. We first meet when he was 13. No, the most important character to cast, and we're actually going after a pretty big name right now. The most important is the father character, the Leon character. That's the character that if we can cast somebody with a strong enough name, we'll get it made. Yeah,
I got you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah, so that's I've got like one toe back in the water, and if that happens, it happens. If not, new golf clubs are arriving every day.
Would you?
I've got tea times booked up into June, so we're good.
Yeah. If for some reason the pilot doesn't get picked up, would you consider adapting this and do like a memoir or a novel or something like that?
I'm writing a book about my life and my career called As Luck Would Have It, the story of me and my very successful mediocre career.
I don't think that it's very mediocre.
Compared to a lot of people, yeah, but compared to like 99% of the people, no. But it's a catchy title, and this 7 years would be like 4 or 5 chapters in that.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay, so now, and you're alluding to your career. Let's touch back on that a little bit. So you worked a lot of these resorts and stuff out in New York. You did the movie. Now, and I've listened to a few of your interviews and stuff. I remember you talking about you said if you're gonna make it big anywhere, you're gonna do it in New York or you're gonna do it in LA.
LA, yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, so you left New York because you got a writing job out in LA, correct?
I left because I sold the first script I ever wrote, and it moved me here. In other words, I didn't. Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed is, and this happens to a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people who I knew who got successful came here on something.
Right.
They came here because of something they were doing. At whatever level, it was something. I don't know anybody who just like showed up at a Greyhound bus station in Los Angeles.
Yeah, like the Guns N' Roses video, "Welcome to the Jungle," jumps off, and all of a sudden he's a rock star. So,
yeah, it sort of doesn't work that way. You have to have some energy going for you,
right? Or you're just going to struggle for a long time and then hopefully get lucky.
And then the dream is going to eat you alive,
right?
Now, go ahead, please.
No, I'm sorry. What I was going to say is, from that though, you started doing the stand-up, correct?
Started doing stand-up out here.
Yes, out in LA. And you alluded to this earlier. You, Robin Williams, Jay Leno, Letterman, you all showed up like within a month of each other, really.
I got here in February of 1976. I think David was here maybe, I don't know, couple of months before me. Robin was only here, Robin was only here a couple of weeks. We met almost instantly at Westwood, at the Comedy Store Westwood. My first night, I met Letterman like this. my first night as a regular at the Comedy Store was on a Tuesday night, like at a 9 o'clock spot, early spot on a Tuesday.
Right.
So I was in the back of the parking lot, Comedy Store parking lot, smoking a joint, just kind of nervous because this was like for real. I was sophisticated enough at that point even to understand that this was now getting to be very real because I knew the people who were in the audience. I knew what agents and managers and talent people were. This was like the real deal.
Yeah, you're getting scoped out, even though there's a mix. There's other people in there sharking you.
Yeah, but I knew that once I started here, either something was going to happen quickly or it wasn't going to happen at all, and because that's the way it seemed to work back then.
Yeah.
You couldn't be on that stage as a regular for more than a month without somebody approaching you for representation, about somebody you had to generate something. And there were people there who that wasn't happening to, and then there were people who it was. So the first night I was there, I was nervous because I knew all this, and I'm in the back smoking a joint, and I looked out towards sunset, and I saw George Miller come walking down the hall.
Wow.
So George had already been on the Tonight Show and was a pretty famous young comedian by that time.
Yeah.
So I see him go like that. And
I smell some.
He sees me in the parking lot and he comes over with his hand extended and says, "Hi, I'm George." And I said, "Oh, hi." He said, "Is that pot? Is that pot? You got pot there?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can I have a hit? Ooh, smells good. Can I have a hit?" I said, "Yeah, really. Take it. Calm down." Yeah. Here. So he takes a hit and he says, "You a comedian?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's my first night." So, "Oh, you'll be fine. And you get a lot of this?" I said, "Yeah, I get it whenever I want." He said, "Oh, we're going to be good friends."
So he was bogarting you all the time.
Yeah, I didn't care. He was like such a sweet guy. So we finished the joint talk a little bit. He puts his arm around me and he said, "Come on, I'll take you to the Comedy Store." And as we're walking in, he looks to the right and he sees an old pickup truck with Indiana plates on it. He said, "Oh, my friend Dave's here. Come on, I'll introduce you. He's a comedian too. Used to be a weatherman. Can you believe it? A weatherman. Who'd want to do that?"
Oh, good God. Okay, so yeah, and so you're working with this really future elite class of people, and you were and so you kind of went back into your writing, and you started working. And I don't know how I know more in comedy. Like I said, I did some improv and some stand up and stuff, but. Now in the writing, you were hired to work as a writer. Now, were you able to farm out to different studios?
Let me tell you how it works. Remember what I said earlier about you weren't on that stage for more than a month before, if anyone in the industry who could do anything thought that their careers would be better being associated with you no matter what,
Right.
Well, comedian Jeff Altman was managed by a company named Marty Littke and Associates, which was a huge TV management company. And he said that one of the managers from that wanted to meet me. And Jeff arranged that. And I suddenly had a manager who was already working with other clients with my agent at William Morris. So all of a sudden, they got together and then planned out the beginnings of my writing career. So I became a client right before pilot season, about 2 months before pilot season in 1976. So they had enough time to send me out for interviews, just meet and greets, just go out and meet producers here, meet producers there. Because, if this agent from William Morris and this manager call you and say, "Hey, there's a really exciting young writer we'd like you to meet," that producer is going to have the meeting,
Right.
It's just for their benefit. So they set those meetings up, and then pilot season came around, and I started to get offers and just started working, just started working, and every job led to another job, and, for a great many years. And I never worked on any really, really big hits, but I always worked. So, that's what I mean about very successful, mediocre career.
Well, now, where did my list go here? I mean, you did some pretty decent shows here. Let me pull up my list. Let's see.
Well, you already talked about Charles in Charge, but Love Boat, Sanford, Who's the Boss?
Dude, Sanford?
Sanford, yeah. I did. I've been around.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm leading up to a couple things here. You did the Happy Days reunion. I mean, okay, Sanford though. I mean, that had to have been great to work with him, right?
It was amazing. It was just.
I mean, Red Fox is just one of those guys. He's always on.
Yep, and that was right at the beginning of the days when I was doing a lot of work at NBC. I was a kind of exclusive to them for a while. I had a deal at Paramount. It was an NBC Paramount deal, So, yeah, I've had a lot of fun. One of the accomplished. You can look at my resume and it is what it is. But one of the major accomplishments of my life that I'm most proud of is that I've been able to live my adult life like a teenager with a really big allowance.
Yes. That's awesome. Yes. Okay.
That's a lot of fun. I got to fucking tell you that, man.
Dude, that's the dream, man, for any freaking guy, especially somebody like as immature as me. I always say, I'm 56 years old, but technically I'm about 15.
Dude, I'm 72 years old. And when I was 65, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, when's it going to happen? Because I know what, more than anyone else, I know what goes on inside my head. And those are not thoughts of a mature man. There's this, doesn't happen, like I'm about to tell you something and it's 100% true. I am so immature. I still think the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life is a kid in camp light a fart.
Oh God! Oh my God! It's like the best memory ever.
I've been around the world. I've seen Buckingham Palace. I've been in the Louvre. I've been top of mountains. Not as cool as a kid lighting a fart.
No way. They've just bend over. Watch this.
Yeah. Oh, whoa.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, do it again. Hold on. Oh yeah, no, and I'm very fortunate. My other job, I work in transportation, so I'm kind of a frontline supervisor out on a truck dock. So, which I grew up in transportation, so I grew up with immature older men my entire life. So, it's quite the release for me. They love the fact that I come out, I do all my voices, my impersonations and stuff, and I just have a lot of fun. So I'm actually more like a cheerleader, if anything, but I get to exercise those demons out on the dock all day. So when I come home, my wife gets a little break. A little, not much, but
I'm so, I hate to be pop psycho. I'm so kind of dysfunctional in so many areas. If it wasn't, and grateful to have been born in the United States, because there's in any other country, a person with my skill set would be homeless.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Living on the street.
Yeah. I'd be like telling jokes on a street corner, for shekels. But
yeah.
No, it's
Worms for the poor.
It's a strange thing to exist in the world just based on the weird shit that goes on in your mind,
Yeah. So do you just have a hard time turning it off? Like it's always on. The ideas are just sort of always there.
Well, yeah, I'm a reflexive joke writer, which means that everything around me is a stimulus to me.
Right.
Like everything that comes into any sensory port on my existence is basis for a setup. It's like I'm always, and I don't even say consciously looking for it. It's just always there. It's like radar going around all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
You're aware of your surroundings, and you're like an improv comic. You can walk into a crowd and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and I just then, instead of it being a scene, I just kind of reduce it down to a punchline. So, which is how I write a lot of my jokes. I kind of just let them happen, and then it's my response to a lot of things.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Now getting to that, and your writing, I wanted to because again, I do voiceover work, and I have a lot of voices in my head, and I do a lot of impersonations. You worked with the world famous Mel Blanc, and you wrote.
Yeah, I wrote How Bugs Bunny Won the West. But to tell you the truth, I was never in the studio with Mel Blanc. I was never. It wasn't. If you recall that show, all of Mel Blanc's stuff was on archive film that we used. What I wrote was all the dialogue that Denver Pyle said, all that interstitial stuff, the spine of the story that put, and what I did was to watch a lot of Bugs Bunny cartoons that took place in the West, and then decide how to pull a story out of those that would fit the spine that I was writing.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So now was that kind of a labor of love? I mean, you love humor? No. Really?
No. It goes back to agents and managers. I had an agent at William Morris named Jane Sindel, who called me about a month before this job happened. Remember I told you about they sent me around to go to meetings and to meet people?
Yeah.
Well, during that time, I met the Warner Brothers TV creative staff, vice president, president, and one of the women who were an executive there, Beth Uffner, who later went on to become Broder Kurland Uffner, a big agency. Beth took a liking to me. Warner Brothers decided to do this How Bugs Bunny Won the West thing. I got a call to write it for no other reason than the executives who were in charge were friends with my agent, and they decided to that's it, man.
Wow.
I was just an up and coming guy, but I was very good in a meeting. Like you guys are in a meeting with me now, so you can see that, I was just probably crazier in some ways and not as crazy in others. But I would just, that's how I got a lot of my jobs, is by going in and being very strong in meetings, which goes back to my father being a great salesman inside of a house.
Right.
It was nothing to me than that. It was, instead of aluminum siding being the product, I was the product.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, and I was going to say, you really have this business, and just hearing you talk, you have this super business sense, I guess, which you probably picked up from your father, on how to make things happen, how to make them work no matter what. And obviously the tons of creativity you have swimming around in your head.
I was taught to look for the wiggle room in any situation. Yeah.
Do you have problems channeling that though? And getting people to, obviously, are you able to, if anything, get your foot in the door and then push the sell, or do you really have to bang things down?
And what would happen would be this, as experience tells me. If I could get a male star of somebody like who we're going after to say yes, to commit to this, I could then go in to any place, Netflix, Amazon, those kind of streaming places.
Right.
That's where I want to do it. And with that star, tell the story and probably get a commitment. I can't say for sure because you can't predict that shit. But
right.
I believe if the stars lined up, elements lined up, and I had somebody on the talent side who was saying yes to this, that I have enough understanding of what the master story is that I could tell it and intrigue people, because I really did a lot of shit. I mean, lived with a girl in New York whose stepfather was a Tony Soprano. I did all those club dates. I was a stage manager of a big hotel. Everything, I went to college with David Duke. I mean, I looked at the progression, right? And I said, well, this story moves forward in time, but it moves forward visually too. Plus the underlying narrative of that is what the country was going through at that time, reality of America then. So, I think I could tell it in a compelling way. I mean, you guys seemed entertained by it.
I was going to say, I'm highly intrigued. I'm like, let's figure this out, man.
One of the things I've learned, and I've always believed this, is that a good pilot, speaking uniquely about that form, a good pilot makes a promise to an audience. It's got to deliver.
Right.
I know this because I had a version of the script where that wasn't in there, and I knew the script was good, but I kept saying there's something missing. There's just something. And I said to Gary one day, I said, you know what's missing? The promise. That's what's missing. So I wrote it, and he said, boy, you're right. It makes it a completely different script. And I said, yep. And I knew it was something, and I just couldn't figure it out. But so it makes a promise, and the promise is this kid gonna, star in a movie? How's that gonna happen?
Right.
That's the promise. And then
the
whole journey is what takes him there.
Right. And the whole follow through and
it's how important the influence of my father's influence on me, his belief in me is his undying and unmitigated belief that if I could dream it, I could do it, is what propelled me.
Okay. So now,
lifeblood of the show.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's almost like a constant cliffhanger. You're always now. Wait, no, don't stop it now. And I that's what I mean, everybody loves that. It's like watching a constant Alfred Hitchcock film or something. You're just like, wait, what?
Only it's funny.
Well, yes, yeah, on a more funny side instead of tragic and a bird pecking out your eyeball. Now, getting back to the comedy thing here for just a second, because I was working my way into it. You obviously you came out of an elite class of comedians, working with them and writers, and what nowadays? I mean, what do you see as the difference in the comedy and like the stand-ups nowadays compared to back then? What is your because I mean, you've got to have a huge,
I don't try to be critical, right?
Yeah.
But there are a few comedians, young comedians, who I think are terrific.
Yeah.
John Mulaney, I've seen him at the Comedy Store. He's just fucking knock him dead.
Yeah.
He's terrific. A couple of other people are good, but I think that philosophically, a lot of younger comedians haven't yet discovered that jokes need a punchline.
Yeah,
right.
That it's okay to put forth an interesting premise.
I was gonna,
but you can't segue from premise to premise or setup to setup. You have to have a punchline, because in comedy, punchline is what the audience laughs at.
Right.
Right? So I think that a lot of young, and they could be talented, they could just not have evolved, but I see people in the clubs all the time, and or I did until COVID, right? And they would just kind of rely on trying to be dirty, and I have no problem with dirty material,
right?
But swearing are not. They're not punch. It's not a meal. It's a spice. It's
right.
You sprinkle on something. You don't eat a bowl of it.
Yeah, it's an enhancement.
Yeah, it's just, it's that. It's not, because things that are funny maybe not to a degree more, but without it than they are with it. Like I do when I do El Yitzhak, and I'm completely, I allude to things, but he doesn't really swear, just,
Yeah.
And I don't mind it. I listen, in life, I have the mouth of a fucking drunken truck driver, but
Well, I know that well.
yeah. So, and even on stage, when I was doing stand up as me, fine, but the character that wouldn't look good. So, I don't know. I don't think that Bench is as deep as it was.
Yeah.
Right.
I was, I just don't like on any given night at the Comedy Store, you could see Robin, Jay Leno, David Letterman, Michael Keaton, let me see, Tim Reed, Tim Thomerson. That's the night, right? And I have yet to see any show that where that's even a possibility. Like,
well,
I forgot Tim Reed started out in stand up.
Sure, Tim and Tom Dreesen, they were partners. Tim and Tom from Chicago.
Yeah,
a lot of these guys I talk to, and all I think about is when I would hear them complain or hear them whine or listen to them off stage, I would think to myself, what would you do if you had to follow Robin Williams, you fucking moron?
Right.
That was a rite of passage for all of us. At some point, you had to follow him. Right?
Yeah. And like you were saying, it's like, especially back then, it's, comedians kind of fed each other as they followed each other onto the stage, and it was great because once you get, you got somebody come out ahead of you and they're got the audience going, they're like, all right, dude, it's up to you now. And then you've got to sit there and keep them pumped and keep them going. And then you turn around and you go, okay, now dude, it's up to you. And again, like you said, there's such a great high with it. I mean, it's an amazing feeling.
Comedy Store used to close at 2 a.m. By law, it was a closed place. But right next door at that time was a hotel called the Hyatt House, Sunset Hyatt House. Well, a lot of us would move to a coffee shop over there, and just sit and do postmortems on our sets that night. We'd sit there. Like Letterman would say, this joke didn't work, and I got to do this. And somebody would offer a suggestion. Oh, that's good. I'll write that down. We would sit there and like work on each other's shit with each other.
Right.
I haven't seen any of that. Could be. I'm just not part of it.
Well,
different generation.
So my brother's a working stand-up comedian, and he is I saw him, and this was maybe 15 years ago, and he was doing a show with Sue Murphy at Cobb's in San Francisco, and everybody killed it on stage, and everybody who was working in San Francisco that night ended up in that little sort of courtyard right outside of Cobb's. And like you said, the funniest part of the night was what happened in that courtyard after the show. And and it was just them being themselves. They sort of ribbed on each other on stuff a little bit, but they didn't really have to play to the audience at all. They were just playing to themselves, and it was. I've never laughed so hard in a comedy show than I did at that point during the night.
But we were like a pretty close-knit group. We played softball together in the summertime. The Comedy Store had a basketball team that did charities. We were always hanging out with each other. So I don't know. It was
a collective. I mean, well, really.
And going back to the original point, I really think that, and that truly was sort of the golden age of comedy. At that point, and
especially stand-up wise.
Well, and there was more of an event around these HBO specials that came out when Carlin had his special, when Robin did his special, and all those other ones came out.
Yeah.
Now it's a little more sort of saturated because these specials aren't as sort of well seen, and they're not as big as they used to be. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And 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 I think that a little bit of the magic is is gone. But
Well,
there.
let me stop you there. Yes, I think this, and I don't, this. I don't mean to like crush anyone's dream, but
You're all worthless and weak.
no. It's just where back when I started, maybe out of every 100 people who went through the store, maybe 80 of them realized that there was no future here for them.
Yeah.
And they left.
Right.
I guess today they just stick around.
Right.
Keep forcing it.
There are too many people who, like, we made being in comedy very cool. And now too many people want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there just aren't that many really funny people.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the big difference between, like, I knew a guy when I was a kid who was a funny guy at a party.
Right.
He would do bits from other comedians who were on, like, the Ed Sullivan Show and on TV, and he would do them okay, and he was funny. But he was just like a recorder. There was nothing funny.
He was just repeating.
Yeah, when he stopped doing that, he wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then there were people like me who everything to me was funny. Which is why I got thrown out of school and why they said to my dad, they said, he's not bad. He's not, we just can't handle him. And my
it's a little much.
My father said, what do you mean you can't handle him? And they said, well, he has the ability to take over the class at will.
Right. Yeah.
I remember that. And he said, we can't have that. The teacher needs to be in control, not your son.
Yeah.
And I just, my dad just like shook his head. And,
Yeah.
He's a nice boy, but he's a little nutsy. And so
I got thrown out of. Listen, guys, I was gonna have a bar mitzvah, and I got thrown out of Hebrew school on the Thursday before the Saturday of my bar mitzvah.
Oh,
literally thrown out. Called, literally said, "Get out of this class and never come back." There's a nice Catholic church down the street.
Oh my goodness!
There's a Buddhist temple down the street.
Nothing else but Buddha. They'll take anybody, right?
Yeah.
They're begging for people.
My father was like, you seen dads on TV who they get angry at their children, and they're good at that, right? They're like really good. They do that anger, tough father thing. That completely flustered my father. He had. He just couldn't process why he had to get mad at me. So he comes, I'll never forget it. He pulls up to the synagogue and he's got my pajamas in his hands.
Oh shit.
And he throws my pajamas in my face and he says, "Get undressed. You're going to bed." I said, "In the car? I'm going to bed in the car? That's how mad you are? I have to now sleep in the car?" And no, when you get home. I said, "Well, why can't I wait till I get home to get undressed?" They said, "We're in public here." And he said, "Because you got to do something, you got to. So
just keep yourself busy. Change your clothes.
He goes into the Hebrew school, to the synagogue, and he gets the president of the synagogue and the principal of the school that I just got thrown out of. And my dad says to them, "Let me just cut to the chase here. How much?
Oh, shit.
How much? What kind of the right to make this go away?"
Yeah.
And they told him.
Oh God.
He wrote it, and that was that. So
Wow.
The way like in the pilot that I wrote, the scene I'm about to tell you really happened. It's in the pilot. I was getting in trouble in high school, like junior high school. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm in algebra class one day, and I had a big fat algebra teacher with a little Adolf Hitler mustache, which for a high school in a Jewish neighborhood was already provocation enough. Just because the guy was 100 pounds more weight than Hitler didn't mean that he couldn't think like that. So his name was Mr. Henry, I believe. He had a daughter. No kidding. Her name was Henrietta Henry. And what I didn't like about him was that he made her call him Mr. Henry. Oh. Like nobody would have cared if she would have said Dad or whatever.
Right.
But he insisted that she call him Mr. Henry. So I wasn't good at math anyway, so I didn't fucking care. He writes a equation on the board like x plus y minus z to the third plus t. And he turns to the class and he says, something's wrong with this equation. Extra points for the person who can guess what's wrong with this equation. So a bunch of students start to raise their hands. And then when I raise my hand, all the other hands go down.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what they meant when they said he takes over the class. Right. So
like, yeah, we want to hear what he has to say.
He looks around and he sees what happens. And he looks at me, he says, Mr. Sheffler, you know what's wrong with this equation? Because he knows I flunked every fucking test. And I said, yes, I do. And he smart-mouthed me. He said, well, why don't you then tell us what's wrong with this equation? And I said, it's pretty simple. No vowels.
Oh, my God.
Class explodes. Points to the door. Get the hell out of my class! And
I was gonna say you're out.
Oh my goodness!
Never come back.
Oh, that's great.
So now I go to the counselor's office. This guy, and he says, "We've sent for your father." I said, "Oh, okay." I'm thinking, good luck with that. And so my dad shows up, comes in the room, and I could see he's mad at me, right? And right. I know he's not mad at me because of what I did. I know he's mad at me because whatever he was doing, I interrupted it.
Right.
You screwed up there.
Right. So this counselor says to my dad, well, he's been just behavioral problem in class, and he's a smart mouth, and he wisecracks everybody, and he takes over classes, and he was just told to never come back. And, he's and I'm just going to have to suspend him. So my father looks at me and he said, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm at the end of my ropes with this kid. I don't know what to do to him or with him. And he says, well, and this guy falls for it. He says, you need a firm hand, Mr. Sheffler. You need a firm hand. Boys like this, they need to be dealt with a firm hand. My father says, you're right. I'm going to take him home and beat the shit out of him. I am going to smack the fuck out of him so badly that he's sleeping in a hospital tonight with tubes coming out of his ass.
Jesus.
This little prick is not going to wake up for a fucking month.
This guy's
got a counselor saying, I never said anything to you about physical violence. No, you said a firm hand.
Firm hand.
Yeah.
Firm hand is a beating. So, no, you can't do that. Says, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. And the guy says, tell you what, Mr. Sheffler, how about we forget about the suspension?
We'll just great.
Go back to class. And my dad says, no, but that guy threw him out, and now I'm embarrassed. I'm going to beat the fuck out of him. And I'll settle it. I'll take it with the teacher. It'll be like it never happened. Just promise you won't lay a hand on him. My father says, well, okay, you're the professional. You know what's best.
Turns it back on them.
Just one thing I want to ask you is, can he walk me to the car? Oh, yeah, but don't you hit him. Oh, no, I made you a promise. I keep my promises. So my dad grabs me a little bit, helps me out, and he's walking out. He's about 100 feet from the door, and he leans down to me and says, how was I?
Oh, that's great.
And he said to me,
yeah.
he said to me, I said, you were fucking great. And he said, look, he said, I can't keep doing this shit for you all the time. I said, I'm not going to do it. The first one's free. I'm not doing this anymore. Next time it's on you. So this was a pass. Don't do this anymore. Whatever it is you're doing, don't do it, because it's interfering with my life. And I said, okay. And then I went back. But that's the kind of dad I had. So,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a scene in the show that
God
that's incredible.
Helps to establish the unusualness of their relationship.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, and that, that's just genius. Those are the kind of dads. Yeah, okay, whatever. He was working his ass off and stuff like that. But to play that and then to turn around and do that to you, just
tons of
so amazing.
It's one of those things where you want to reach over and hug him, but you're like, not right now. There's timing.
No, he just played it right. Like had me fooled for a while.
Now, were you scared shitless going out there thinking, oh God, my dad's really going to beat my ass when we get to the car?
No, my father.
You knew it. You knew what was going on.
Never laid a hand on me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Threw a bagel at me once, but that's.
But hey, yeah. Now, was it a day-old bagel or was it fresh?
Oh, it was a fresh bagel, which pissed him off.
Oh yeah. Don't waste a good fresh bagel. You never waste a good fresh bagel.
Okay. I know we're getting close to the end of our time. I want to talk about your show that you're doing now.
Okay.
Let's bring that up real quick, and then I got another question for you after that. But I want to hear about because you said you're kind of semi-retired. You're doing your writing, but you've come back to doing some stand-up. It's actually like a one-man show, really.
Yeah, it's a every time I'm on stage, it is like a one-man show. What happened was in 2015, I was in a really bad accident. I got hit by a car in my neighborhood in LA.
Yeah.
And I got really injured, like really fucked up. And I was in the hospital for quite a bit recovering. And the thing about when you go into a hospital and you have like painful injuries is they give you really good drugs. Yeah. It's no fucking Tylenols for me, motherfucker. That's
yeah.
Okay, sustained release. All right, 16 hours. What? I'm still hurt. This shit. Hello.
There's the colors and the things.
So what happened was that I developed like this cycle where they give me the pain medication, and as I drift off, always back in 1977 at my house in Laurel Canyon, hanging out at the Comedy Store I go back to that time in my life that was so emotionally and career rewarding and just fun and just like a really wonderful era of my life. And it was palliative. It was, it would take away my pain. So I came out of that with the idea that, maybe I'll go and try to do some stand-up again. So I started hanging out at the store, and everybody's really nice to me there because, I'm a original paid regular, and they're just, and I was listening to comedians and listening to audiences, and I came to the conclusion that while it might be fun for me, no one's really going to give a shit and no one's going to listen. Right. I knew that as there's a new day and whatever. There was no reason for anyone to really listen to me. I'm not a household name. I'm not even a household name in my own household, right? So I walked past. Hi, honey. She goes, "Who are you again?"
I was going to say, your wife walks in. What are you doing here?
Yeah. She sees me and calls the cops. There's a stranger in my house.
Right. Right. The old guy's back again.
So I put it to rest, right? But being completely forthright, stand up for me is like the girl I let go get away. I love doing it so much, but I made a decision that I don't regret. I wanted to be more stable. I didn't want to go on the road. I wanted to have a family. I made decisions that I about my life. And like I said, I have 3 great children. I'm not don't regret that for a second. But
right.
I still loved performing, right? I still. So I realized that nobody was going to give a shit, and again, I put it to rest. I swallowed it, and I said, that's enough. Then one day, about 6 months, 8 months after my accident, I'm in the shower, and I just got very angry. For some reason, I got very angry at myself, and I started like getting into this like emotional, verbal flagellation of myself, and you know, kind of wishing I would have just stayed being a comedian. My life would have been a lot simpler, and
right.
Just goofy stuff, and I got very angry. And then the other side of me was saying, no one's going to listen to you. There's no reason for anyone to listen to you. And my beard was much, much longer.
Yeah. So
I've shaved it in 5 times during the pandemic. It's grown, fucker grows back.
like Santa Claus.
Yeah, I get out of the shower and I look at myself in the mirror and I start pointing. I said, "You're nothing but a skinny old Jew bastard, and no one's gonna fucking care. You're just a shriveled up piece of shit. Once with a career, no one fucking cares." And then I started pointing, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, "Don't go away." I ran into I had an idea.
Right.
I ran into my closet and I put on a black shirt, a black suit, white shirt, black tie, black hat, because I have a hat collection, right? So I got a ton of hats, big fedora. I got dressed up. I went back in the mirror looking like this, right?
Yeah.
And I pointed to myself and I said, "Now they'll listen."
Yeah. That's great.
And so I started writing, and to again, going back to my experience acquired professionalism, I knew that I could either be jerking myself off and this is a one-off out of a shower, or it's for real. And the only way to tell is to write it. So I wrote for 6 months before I ever went on stage, and I got to know this character. I created a history. I created a backstory. I created a life. I created a future. I created all the things that you need to create good characters. And then when I was sure that I had a shot at it, I called up a young millennial comedian I knew who ran an open mic room in Reseda, California. And I said, "I need 15 minutes. And he said, "Yeah, sure. Come on, anytime." And so I got dressed up and I went down there and I went on stage and I did it. And I walked off stage and I said, "This is going to fucking work.
Okay.
This could really work." And, I gave myself the name El Yid because my wife is Colombian and speaks Spanish, and El Yid in Spanish means the Jew. And, in 2017 I started, and except for the 22 months or 21 months of the pandemic, I was out almost, 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow.
And I just did a show, a first live show back after all that time, October 9th. Steve Middleman and I did the Encore Theater in Tustin. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, I told you guys, I think in the front part, I did 26 minutes and I got 25 applause breaks, and I got it on tape. And
that's great.
Yeah, and so I've hired a social media guy and I've hired an editor to tighten it up and pull out some one-off spots, little jokes, and I'll invest some time, money, and effort into pushing this character forward a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as you were developing the character, did you walk around in character, like driving your wife crazy and
That's an interesting thing. She tells me a lot that there are times when she'd much rather be with El Yid than me.
Bring back the nice guy. Bring back the guy. I want him.
She also tells me something else, which I guess is an interesting observation that I never realized. She said, watching the transformation, watching me get dressed, watching me transform from Mark into El Yid, she said that's the closest she'll ever come to watching Bruce Wayne turn into Batman.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, see, now that's Andy because Andy's
Right.
a huge Batman
Yeah.
fan.
Big old nerd.
It is very Andy Kaufman like. It is.
Oh yeah.
You meant this Andy? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me,
But
me,
no,
Andy. But
and I
no,
get
it
that.
is.
Yeah,
It
you're
is.
right.
No, it is very Kaufman going full
Because
character on stage.
Once I get dressed, I'm the character till I get undressed.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I'm 100% the character till I get undressed.
Yeah, it's like when my wife she loves Bill Clinton. So I do my little Bill Clinton impersonation. You know, hey baby, let's go put that blue dress on, smoke a cigar, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, baby.
Who loves Sean Connery, you know, and I do my Sean Connery impression, and she go fucking.
Oh, want to hear it?
Yeah, my name is James Bond.
Oh yes, very good. Now do Sean Connery at Jeopardy.
I'll take organized crime units for 100 days.
Oh, that was one of my favorite Saturday Night Live bits. Okay, so now, all right. So now, your show, are you still doing it? Is it just something you kind of like every now and then get booked for, or what are you doing?
It's something because I have an odd life. Before the pandemic, my wife and I were spending about 4 months a year in Colombia with her family. So obviously during the pandemic, we haven't gone back there, but we just booked a trip for the summer to go there for about 2.5 months. So I don't have the time, right, to do this full time. You know,
right.
I write all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm capable of doing shows whenever because I keep my material fresh. But I'm not out every night. You know, first of all, I live most of the time about 125 miles outside of Los Angeles. We live near Palm Springs, so I'm in Indio, California. Yeah. But we maintain a place there, so we can go in when we want. But it's, you know, it's so fucking nice out here. Like, no, it's like I live in a house. You know, our house is like on the grounds of it. It's like living on the grounds of a really cool country club.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
2 golf courses here, tennis courts, swimming pools, you know, all kinds of shit. And it's hard to leave. It's like hard to.
Well, and then go to LA for God's sakes. Yeah.
Like,
get it.
I have to have a real reason to go. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh no, even when my mom lived in Camarillo, I used to live in LA, but my mom was in Camarillo, and I kind of adopted Ventura as my second home.
Okay.
And because I love Ventura, I fell in love with that town, and like, you know, the fact that we'd have to go in to pick somebody up at LAX or something, it was just like, oh, there's got to be a way. There's a shuttle. There's something that's we pay extra.
I don't like going back there as much as it's weird. I thought I would miss it more than I do, and I don't.
Yeah.
Like, be there, that's a different reason, you know, if I have a reason, but I need a reason to go there.
Yeah. And we're all Bay Area kids. We all grew up in the Bay Area and whatnot.
Okay.
So, I've lived all over California, but I moved out to Kansas City 17 years ago, and I've never looked back. I mean, every time I come out to visit, it's like, okay, well, this is great. I'm done. That's cool. I'm out, and I'm going back to KC. But yeah, no, I totally get. And Indio, I actually had a stepdad that lived out in Indio, so yeah, it's beautiful out there. It's a great place.
We're in the desert, but you know, we're surrounded by snow-capped mountains right now.
Yeah.
So,
oh God, yeah. Now, okay, so now when are you going to know about this pilot? And
it's out of my hands, man.
You can't say nothing.
No, it's just out of my hands. I mean, you know,
I know that's what I meant.
We know the mission. Like in order to get this thing moving, we got to get. It's all going to be determined on whether we can get a significantly a well-known male star to play the father character. That's
Now, if it doesn't become, a series or anything, would you be turning it into a book or something like that? Or?
It'll be some chapters in a book, in a larger.
Okay.
I'm writing a book about my life and my career.
Right.
I think I told you as
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
It'll be I'm that book is divided up into decades, so it'll be late teens and 20s decade. It'll the beginning of my 20s.
That'll encompass all that.
Yeah, Last House came out when I was 21, I think.
Okay. Now, we are getting close to the end of the time here. So, and I want to, I don't want to hold you up too much longer, but we do have a little thing that we like to call random questions of insanity, and wanted to throw a couple out at you, if you'd so oblige us.
You can ask any question you want. I don't know whether I'll have an answer, but you can ask.
Yeah. Right. There we go.
All right. So one of our favorites is just because it was the first one we ever thought of, was if you, and you're at home, so you go to your fridge, anything you want's in there. What's your favorite sandwich that you make, from bread all the way to the condiments, everything that's on it?
Well, that's an odd question for me because I'm a cook. That's my hobby, is cooking. So, which is why I made hired kosher chef, because it's a occupation I could bullshit. And my youngest son Max is one of the top young chefs in Los Angeles. So,
oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's an amazing chef. Worked at nothing but Michelin-starred restaurants.
Oh wow!
Nice.
So let me see. I would, I would probably hand sear some cubes of salmon in a seaweed, sesame seed, soy based. Throw it on a wrap with some daikon radish and
ooh, yeah. Get all involved.
That is certainly the most sophisticated answer that we've ever gotten to that question.
Yes.
Well, because I don't know, because I don't eat shit.
Right.
I grew up.
Yeah.
No, when I was a kid, I had a charge account in every top restaurant in Pittsburgh, and I grew up not eating shit. I never ate shit. Okay, my youngest son is a young chef. My other two children, they don't eat shit. And one of them lives in Texas, so it's really difficult for him.
Wow.
But he lives in Austin, so he has Whole Foods.
There you go.
I just don't eat shit. So for me, food is a serious. This is one of the pleasures of life. So I enjoy it. So next question.
Okay, next question. If you could ride a unicycle, would you feel you're better than others, and how would it change your life, and would you feel superior to those others?
See, you say riding a unicycle, I think getting fucked up the ass. That's
I've been waiting for somebody to say something like that.
The moment you said unicycle, I sat here and went, "Oh fuck, I don't like it." Oh, what am I at the doctor's? I don't like this. I don't think I could ride a unicycle because I would be way too aware of people looking at me saying, why is this idiot riding a unicycle?
Why is the idiot on the one-wheeled bike?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I say when I see the unicycle.
Beautiful. Put another wheel on it. You'd be surprised the improvement.
Yeah, it's so much more stable, and you don't go, hell.
Yeah. Riding a motorcycle is like, for me, like somebody trying to light a fire with flint.
It just takes forever.
Now there's two wheels,
I got a Bic. It's right here. Okay, one more. Which famous celebrity would you want to punch in the face?
Oh, I can't say. I don't know.
Okay.
You're like, there's a list.
Certainly not the guy I'm trying to get to do my series.
Right, yeah.
He's not on that list at all. So,
That's right.
I'm not a violent person, so I would not punch anybody. I would just leave the room. There's no punching. Not enough.
I got better things to do.
Not enough room leaving.
All right. Okay. Then let's do this one. What is the most ridiculous fact that you know?
that I had a career.
And on that note, man, your career has been amazing, and I'm really looking forward to this book. Is there any way that when you get this book coming out, you'd come back on the show and talk about it?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Oh, Mark, thank you so much, man. This has been great.
Fun.
Hey,
yeah, Mark, such a pleasure to talk to you and meet you today.
blast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your.
Hey, thank you, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Marc Sheffler, thank you very much, sir. Have a beautiful, beautiful
Good
day.
New Year's, man.
You too, my friend. Oh, wow. Wow, that was awesome. Oh, my God.
It was very cool.
Great. Yeah, and apparently our chat got disabled somehow. That's why I just pulled it off. For some reason,
Okay.
it's
But
just
we got those two comments earlier from Cheryl, but I guess
right off the beginning, and then that was it. And I had a little sign pop up twice saying chat was not working or something. It was not connecting. So I don't know. I'll have to,
interesting. Huh.
Hopefully this week when we update technology and stuff, we don't have that problem anymore. So let's bring our good friend Matt back in here real quick, and let's just start wrapping up the show. Matthew, hello, sir. Oh yeah, you gotta turn your mic on. Ha! Uh-oh. Matt,
I did turn it on. I accidentally double clicked it.
Ah, sure. That's what.
Yeah,
I'm the only one with the technological problems. I get it.
Hey, now it's working.
Maybe chat was working the whole time, and no one had anything to say.
Oh,
I guess.
Oh yeah.
I guess Corey.
What day is it, Lois?
Yeah,
I guess
maybe that's. What is it, Matt?
Your wife says, "Guess what day it is?" And I said, "I'm guessing it's Tuesday."
Well, what else goes on Tuesday?
Or it could be.
I don't know what it could be, Andy.
I was right.
Taco Tuesday.
There it is.
I was right.
Oh, geez. Why didn't the something's going on with the chat. Here, I'll highlight it that way. Yeah, for some reason the chat is not pulling up. That's weird.
It does not.
I'm making fajitas tonight.
At all.
Taco Tuesday today. That's right. We're getting ready to whip up some tacos.
There we go.
There. Oh, now it's working. Hey, babe, you fixed it.
Tacos. We're doing Asian style pork.
Yeah, we're doing fajitas tonight.
Homemade wontons.
Wow.
Yeah. Ooh, that's nice.
We did Taco Tuesday last Friday.
Beauty.
Doesn't that make it Taco Friday?
No, it's always Taco Tuesday.
A little anarchistic, but hey.
We used to, when I lived in a house with a bunch of people, we lived in a big house. There were 5 people that lived in the house, but by proxy, there were 9 people that lived in the house just because of couples and everything.
Right.
We would do Taco Wednesday. We call it T-Dub, and we would, and then 20 people would show up. I would cook this huge spread for all of our friends, and it was a staple that lasted for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
When KJ lived here in SLO, we would do Taco Tuesdays every once in a while.
All right.
They were a drunken Taco Tuesday.
But
they happened on Tuesday.
It became Tequila Tuesday.
Oh no, just Jägermeister and King Cobras or whatever was on sale.
Big old King Cobra or Old E.
The Old E. Oh my goodness.
What were those, like $1.29 back then?
I don't know, because I drank Guinness or something else good.
Snob beer, whatever.
Well,
I'm drinking my stout. Dude, I'm
not here to get hammered.
I got 5 of these for the cost of yours.
Exactly. Hey, if
Mickey's.
They're gonna make good craft beers, I'm gonna drink them. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go get crap faced on my Old English malt liquor, and I'll save some money at the same time.
We all make our decisions, Chris. Those are all decisions that we need to make, and you made your decisions. Other people make their decisions. It's okay.
Jumping off the roof at midnight.
Nothing wrong
directed
with
it
that.
out of my mind.
No.
Into a
Hey,
4-foot
you've
deep
learned.
pool.
You learned your lesson.
Yes, I.
You know.
Did he?
have.
Right. What?
And wasn't proud, but
No.
it worked.
Okay.
So I guess he did.
Well, listen, guys.
man.
There it is. The first show of the new season in the new year.
Wow.
Mark was so good. That was a lot of fun. I don't imagine any actor coming close. Obviously, it's focused more on the dad. You know, like the show's focused more on the dad and his role, and that's the powerhouse. But I don't imagine any actor coming close to capturing his energy or just who he is in person.
Yeah,
you know. So
that's what I was gonna say. I can't imagine a kid actor that would be able to. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of somebody, and then just somebody to play his father. And he said he was going after like a major name. So I'm very intrigued to find out what that is. But hey, you know, it may not even happen. Who knows? But I want to,
because that sounds great.
Yeah,
honestly, I would watch that show.
Yeah,
I would totally too. Yeah.
So yeah, very exciting. God, I hope it happens, man. That'd be so cool. And there it is.
But before you do your outro,
before I do my outro, I want to say thank you to all our sponsors. Absolutely, yes. Let's see, where are they at? Let's see. We've got our good friend Neil Getzlow. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Now, don't forget, if you use the code RANDOM when you go to neilgetzlow.com, you'll get 10% off or you'll get free shipping. They'll work it out with you. So make sure you go there and check out Unmasked. It is a great story. Helps and open eyes so much. Also, to Squid's Killing It. I almost stumbled there. Squid's Killing It Productions. In fact, they just came out with a new song, and it's actually very, very cool. Make sure you go to the website, Squid's Killing It at gmail.com, Squid's Killing It Productions. They've got all their socials up there. There's links on our website. The good old SJ Network for great representation. Please check them out. Also, our good friends at Consolidated Skateboards and our house band, the Dead Campers, who are on Spotify. Make sure you check those guys and listen to that. I mean, music just like this. It is amazing. He's does a lot of surf, rockabilly kind of covers. Great music. So next week, you guys ready for this? Because this is a good one.
We're going to need a bigger podcast.
We're going to need a bigger podcast because Carl Gottlieb, that's right, the guy who wrote Jaws, is going to be on the show. Plus, he also wrote The Jerk, one of the most freaking awesome movies ever. So funny with Steve Martin. And just a ton of other great, funny stories and movies that he's written. So that will be next week, same time, 4 o'clock Tuesdays. And don't forget about our raffle. That's right, kids. The raffle to see guest host with Tom Rash. Ranch. I'm thinking about
Tom Ranch. You're thinking of dinner already, aren't you?
I know, right?
I'm ready for food. We're gonna have.
Well,
Tom
speaking
Rash
of that,
on.
I mean, I know you're talking about a guest, but that just brings up. You said ranch. Do you like ranch with your Mexican food at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, no business on the same table.
Hot sauce.
I had relatives living in San Diego when I was a kid that taco salads with ranch.
Yeah, talk into the mic.
Weirdest things.
No. Taco salad with salsa.
Right?
Salsa on there.
Oh, yeah. Right? Oh,
this stuff's made in New York City.
Now, there is...
I'm sorry.
Hold on. There's like a Chipotle... Yeah, okay. There's my wife just pointed out there's a crema. I already turned off the chat, babe. Sorry. But there's it's like a spicy ranch, like a picante ranch kind of salad dressing that's really good.
No, they sell salsa ranch dressing. It's actually my favorite, but it still doesn't deserve a spot on the table during a Mexican night.
No. Doesn't belong.
Nope.
Right.
No, fully with you
glad
there
we
on
could
that
clarify that.
But yeah, so Tom Rash on we go to the raffle. It's $3 a spot. So if you put in, like Andy pointed out, you put in $9, you get 3 spots, and we will draw numbers randomly at the end of the week before, and you will get to be a guest host. You'll get a signed artwork from Tom Rash as well. And as you know, Tom did DC, he did Marvel, he's got his own comic, Black Alpha, which they're actually going to be making into a movie and whatnot. And he's got a couple others that he's been working on that they're coming up with. It's going to be really cool, really awesome. So go to the website, which is therandomchristianshow.com/raffle. That's right. And you can enter there. And here, should I pull it up one more time so they can see what it looks like?
No, don't do it. I will make a graphic for it. Don't bring up.
Okay.
No.
Never mind.
No.
Okay.
I will make a graphic for it. I promise.
Oh my Lord. Yes.
Well, gentlemen, this has been an absolutely awesome new show to start the year off with Pet Rock. And it's Taco Tuesday. So it's time to go eat tacos. And I'm going to say thank you again, Matt, for your wonderful directorial and producing skills. We appreciate you so much, sir. Go play with the kittens. Peace. Andrew, thank you again as well, sir. Thank you so much for being my co-host, and I will look forward to seeing you next week.
Sounds good, man.
With Carl Gottlieb from Jaws.
Dun, 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 dun.
I got a shirt. Until next week, folks. Again, thank you again so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, review. Apparently, that's a very big thing. You need to review the show. So if you can, and pass the word around. Don't forget about the raffle. Pass that off to your friends who are comic nerds and whatnot. In the meantime, we're going to nerd out. Be good to each other. We're all we've got out there besides our boss upstairs, Christ himself. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.